So I'm Mitcho. I'm going to be talking about giving you some latest news from the Mozilla Jetpack project. And this is the goal today, to give you the latest news. A little bit about me. I'm a linguist primarily, and then coder and teacher. Until sometime last year, I was working at Mozilla Labs. Anybody played with Ubiquity? Fantastic. I got to have the lovely job of teaching Ubiquity many different languages. So that's what I did, and that's the natural language connection. Right now, as a community member, as a Mozilla community member, I continue to talk about Jetpack as a Jetpack ambassador. And right now, in my day job, I'm a grad student at MIT, and I live on the internet. So the big question is hackability, right? That's the big question we want to address. It's this. Right? This is the hackability issue, right? So the web should be generative, right? We at Mozilla, and I think many of you agree, the web should be a platform where people can change their experiences. Users should be able to transform the interactions and the types of experiences they're having on the web on a very fundamental level. And we believe, as the main broker between a user and the internet for those interactions, we believe the browser itself should be generative as well. And so Firefox's answer is add-ons, right? And there are thousands of add-ons out there. I'll talk a little bit about this platform real quick. So addons.mozilla.org, I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. That's the main public repository of add-ons. There are over 6,000 in the wild. And they're written in this mishmash of HTML, JavaScript, and then XPCOM, this underlying C-based component layer, and Zool, which is this XML user interface description language. So that's what they're written in. And it's the largest extension platform ever. Over 1.9 billion downloads just on AMO alone. Over 170 million in active use. This is a phenomenal platform, embraced by users, embraced by developers, but there are some problems. So just to step through them real quick. So installs need restarts. Now that's annoying for users. It's very annoying as a developer of add-ons. That's very unfortunate. They're not trivial to develop. So as I said, it's a mishmash of a number of different kinds of technologies, which programming an add-on is quite different than programming for the web, unfortunately, and we want to bring that closer. They require manual upgrades, and from a security point of view as well. I mean, if we have a security patch, we want to be able to push that out. And they're not designed for quick security review. So some of the incredible power that the Firefox platform gives to add-ons is because we basically open up the store. They have all the Chrome privileges. They can look at your browsing history. They can look at your cookies. They can look at everything. And because of that, we have a security process that we use at AMO of a number of different volunteers around the world that are AMO editors, and they go through basically line by line looking at the code that's submitted to AMO and for every upgrade, right? This is a very time and labor intensive process, and we think we can do better. So it's 2010. This was supposed to be the future. Where is my Jetpack? Well, I'm very glad to say we're working on a Jetpack right now at Mozilla Labs. So I want to tell you a little bit about this project now. So the idea is Jetpack is going to be a new way to extend Firefox. And I'm sure many of you have heard about this project as well. It's important to note that this doesn't replace Zool-based add-ons, the XPCOM add-ons, the add-ons that you use now in Firefox. It's not meant to replace that. In fact, this lives on top of it. A little bit of the highlights. First of all, it's easy. So it's going to be written in JavaScript, HTML, CSS, the same sort of stack, the same AJAX-y APIs that you use now on the web when writing a web application or even for a server. We're using those types of design paradigms, those kinds of languages. You're going to be able to use your favorite libraries, whether it be jQuery, MooTools, whatever. And it's going to have a simple modular AJAX-y API built into it to give you access to the core functionality of the browser. Instant install, we think this is going to be a huge win for users and developers alike. Great development tools. So we're working on some tools like a built-in memory tracker, check for leaks. Unit testing framework is going to be built into this. IDE integration, I'm going to get to that in a little bit. And finally, you're going to be able to build this thing in JavaScript, HTML, CSS, the languages you know, and export it as an XPI, which without any dependencies on something called Jetpack, users will be able to install it directly, and the only difference they'll notice is that, hey, this is a special kind of add-on. It installs without restarts. It's fantastic. So it's secure. That's another highlight. So because we're splitting up the API, the browser API, into these abstracted AJAX-y APIs, which are also modularized, we're going to make it so that when you write a Jetpack add-on, you're going to say in the manifest, I'm going to make external HTTP requests, but I'm not going to access the browser history. I'm not going to look at your tabs. I'm not going to edit your cookies. And you say that in the manifest. And then because we've modularized the capabilities and we're sandboxing this code, whenever you try to access something else, it's just going to trip a wire, and you're not going to be able to do that. So through this process, this is going to help with the review process as well. We think this is going to help secure the code and make reviews faster. We're also building the functionality for automatic upgrades, and we're working on exactly what is going to be the target of that, maybe just security patches, maybe just vital patches, but we'll see. But that's something we're working on, and I think users will appreciate that as well. And it's built for the future. We're designing right now, we're in active development of a stable API, which hopefully can live for the test of time, and hopefully will be compatible with future versions of Firefox. So users will be able to use your Jetpack-based add-ons for years to come. So I mentioned IDE integration, and what exactly does that mean? So the current iteration of Jetpack, which I'll talk about a little bit, is built on, right now, a set of command line tools which run these processes, bootstrap your code into a Firefox profile, etc. during development, and then produce the XPI. One of the instances of an IDE that we're creating right now is an IDE on the web, which uses these same tools. But of course, you'll ultimately be able to use whatever tools you like. But this is just something we're working on internally. So this is a demo I just pre-recorded because live coding scares me. And this is a prototype of what we have working, codenamed Flight Deck. So here are some extensions and libraries that others have written in Flight Deck. I'm going to write a new extension called Control Tabs. My girlfriend's always complaining when she uses my computer that I have like 60 different tabs open. So hopefully this will rein that in. This can help me out with that. So let's see what happens when we create a new one. There's a manifest file. It's got some crud in the name, so I'm just going to pull that out, just make it Micho. We're going to update that, save it. There's a description, and we'll actually get started coding this. All right, so the first thing to do is access some APIs which we're going to be using, some different modules. And so I'm going to first require the tabs module. And this require system, this is based on the CommonJS module system, and we're taking a lot of inspiration from Narwhal as well. Also, I'm using a module called Simple Dialog, which is actually not built into the platform. It's a module that a friend of mine in Japan wrote as well, which is accessible as a library. And to actually access it, I need to basically add the files into my Jetpack. Aside from calling them, I need to actually add them in so they get loaded. All right, so now I'm going to add a tab event. I'm going to say when there's a tab open event, I'm going to run tab control. So I'm going to write that callback now. So we'll just do a simple demo first. I'm just going to use the simple dialog. Basically, first I'm going to get the tab count using the count method. And then I'm just going to display a simple dialog alert, which is basically similar to window.alert, except here we don't have access to window. So we have to use this module. And I'm going to say, you have this many tabs open, right? So just as a quick start. So let's try that. We'll save that and try in browser, right? And no restart required. The extension's installed. I'm going to open a new tab and says, you have 2 tabs open. Okay, so that's that. So go back. We want to do something more interesting than that, and we can. So I'm just going to strip this back out and change it so that if we have more than 20 tabs open, right? I'm going to say that's the maximum threshold. Then I'm going to harass the user, myself, by displaying an alert, but actually a confirmation, yes/no confirmation, that says you already have too many tabs open, right? And I can let you go ahead and open this, but then I'm going to randomly select one of your other tabs and close it, right? Is that okay? And you say yes or no, and that'll return a true value or false value, right? So if the answer is true, if I said yes, go ahead and do that, then we're not going to mess with the current tab we just opened, but instead I'm going to use tab remove, and we already know the tab count. I'm going to pick a random index using rand and then a floor, and pick a random tab index, tabs.retrieve that, and then tabs.remove that. Very straightforward. Pick a random tab, close it. If the answer is no, if I said no, then what we want to do is close the new tab that we just opened, technically. So I'm just going to tabs.remove, tabs.retrieve, tab count -1. So the last tab, I'm just going to close that, the one you just tried to open. So let's try this out. We'll try it in the browser. And just to test this, I have a bookmarks folder with 20 different bookmarks in it. They're just Google searches for 1 through 20. So I'll open that in tabs. So we get 20 tabs. Yes, I want to open 20 tabs. So there we have 20 tabs, right? Just 1 through 20. Nothing up my sleeve. All right. And we'll, oh, URL encoding, I like that, so I'll check that out. So I try to open that in a new tab. You already have too many tabs open. Yes, go ahead and randomly close something else. Okay, and so now I look down and number 7 is gone. All right, so this could be really annoying, but notice how easy it was to write this with a very Ajax-y, very straightforward API, much more straightforward than the actual XPCOM internals, I might add. Very straightforward with a fantastic IDE, and this is just the prototype, and hopefully there will be other tools as well that build on this SDK. So this all began with a blog post, like many things do. Back last year in May, the Jetpack project was launched with a prototype. And since then, this whole platform has really exploded. A lot of people have been writing Jetpack add-ons on top of this Jetpack prototype. But alas, this was just a prototype. So right now we're in this process called the Jetpack reboot. And really, it's very straightforward. This is the idea. Harder, better, faster, stronger. That's the idea of the Jetpack reboot. So we're rewriting this from the ground up. We started this beginning of this year. And so right now we have the Jetpack SDK 0.2. Please go ahead and download that. Unfortunately, right now, it doesn't have, it's really laying a lot of the foundation of this. We're trying to make it a very production-ready, very stable sort of core, very solid foundation, but it doesn't have any of the high-level modules yet. SDK 0.3 will be out later this month, hopefully by the end of the month, and that'll include some of the first high-level APIs, like panel overlays, the context menu API, a DOM selection API, and the tabs. So this is Jetpack. This is the basic idea. So there's Firefox, Zool, and XPCOM internally. That's you and your JavaScript, right? And this is Jetpack, right? That's what will take you from A to B. That will connect you and let you write fantastic add-ons, very powerful add-ons in Firefox in the same sort of JavaScript that you love writing every day. So that's Jetpack. So it's the power of this add-on platform together with the benefits, all the benefits of a modern Webby API. And so the key terms, again, the keywords are easy, secure, and future-proof. That's the message. So today, 3:15 to 4:15 or so, I'll be in the game room, hooked up to the projector. I'll be doing a little Jetpack workshop, we'll look at the prototype, play with the SDK, and I'll talk a little bit about how to get involved, how you can follow this development process as it keeps going. So I'll see you guys there. Welcome to the future, and thank you very much.